I'm your host of this year's PIRCHE webinar season, Matthias Niemann. This year we plan to do 7 small webinars, so smaller chunks, each presenting a different module of the PIRCHE web service. So in the first episode today we are showing you the PIRCHE stem cell transplantation single patient module, and that allows you to match multiple mismatched unrelated stem cell donors for your patient where you aren't able to find a matched related donor or a matched unrelated donor for. So I guess it makes sense to directly jump onto my screen. Let's go first onto our PIRCHE website and use your credentials to log in. So today we're going to have a look into the HSCT single patient matching module. So let's have a look what we can do over here. So first off, this top panel here is supposed to hold your patient information, and the bottom panel here is supposed to hold all of your donors. So there are plenty of input fields now, and not all of them are necessary for a use case, so let me explain a bit how you can enter data here. So probably the first and easiest option is to enter your patient information and donor information just by hand. So I will just real quick enter some typing data here, and you can see there's some auto-completion feature. So this might be useful if you need some support to enter your data. But also these input fields here can load the multi-allele codes, the NMDP multi-allele codes, and give you suggestions of what these allele codes translate into, and you have to select one of these alleles. And yeah, this is of course a tedious process, and it doesn't make too much sense to enter your data by hand over and over again. Of course, this is also very error prone, so we do not recommend entering the data by hand. So for this reason, we introduced the input wizard fields, and these allow basically to copy your data and paste your data in here, and PIRCHE will automatically extract this data from the input string. And we support here different formats. You can check that help box over here, and for example we support CSV strings but also GL strings. Right now this is only for non-ambiguous GL strings. So you see my input typing was already extracted over here. And if you now want to move on and enter some 9 out of 10 matched donors, it might be useful to copy over the patient typing into one of your donors, like so. And now you only need to replace single values, like so, and enter a donor ID. So you can enter more donors down here by clicking the plus button. You can remove them by clicking on the minus, or you could delete the whole content of a field by pressing the X button. Just a number of editing options that you have over here. Another different point I want to mention here is that you can export actually the data of these input masks here into a local file. So it downloads the file now into your downloads folder, and you can import the data at a later stage. For example, if you want to add more donor information, or if you want to update your typing information. So another option to upload the data is to actually push the data from your NGS typing software tool suite onto the PIRCHE website. And the first partner who was integrating this API was actually Omixon. And here you can see the Omixon HLA Twin typing software, and I can open here a sample for the details. You can see here the typing results of their NGS approach. You can see here 4 field results, and if you want to push all of this data now to the PIRCHE website, you can press the Send to PIRCHE button here on the top right hand corner, and this will open up a small dialog where you can select what to actually upload to PIRCHE. So in case of ambiguities, for example, you can select here a different pair of alleles, and if you're all set, you can click on the Finish button, and this will immediately open up a new browser window where you may need to enter your credentials again, and then you can select the PIRCHE module you want to use. So let's import now a case I created earlier. So this is here a 9 out of 10 matched donor situation, and we have a couple of A mismatches. Over here I entered now 10 donors earlier, and as you can see, because we have now more than 5 donors in here, we get this additional bulk editing options to, for example, remove incomplete or invalid donors, or to remove whole ranges of donors. So if you have huge amounts of donors in your list, by importing them from another software, for example, you can quickly get rid of those incomplete cases, for example. So let's press the match button and see what we get. It takes a couple of seconds and then we get our result. What you can see here is our basic result table for this patient. So we have our patient typing here in the top row, and we have all the donors down here listed in that table. And on the right hand side you can see the different PIRCHE scores for all of these donors in relation to that patient, of course. Yeah, and you can order this table here based on the PIRCHE score, for example, or based on the donor ID. So we can also filter the donors here like so. This might be, for example, useful if you're searching for a particular donor, or if you have some sort of center prefix and you want to check out only the scores of a certain donor center or donor registry. This is possible by pressing that magnifying glass up here. Also, you can filter your donors by match grade or by locus by pressing the locus button up here. So for example, if I'm only interested in B mismatches and not A mismatches, I can exclude all the A mismatches. But as we only had a list with A mismatched donors, none of them apply. Let's check out the details of our match result. We can open here the details of a single donor, and then we see all the different peptides that are introduced by the mismatch and showing by which allele these are presented. And we can see here our 3 mismatching peptides are actually presented on the A2301, coming from the A2402 mismatch against the A0301. So future Matthias here, I need to correct myself. So we have this shared molecule here, which is basically our presenting molecule, and though we have the mismatch between the A2402 and the A031 of the patient, the peptides actually come from the mismatching A0301 here, being presented on the A2301. So, and now back to Matthias from the past. So, and if we scroll down a little, we see here the presentation by DRB1. So basically the PIRCHE 2 score. Let me disable showing the duplicates. Then we see here all the unique peptides that are coming from the A0301. And we see we have 13 on the DRB1071 and 16 on the DRB1101. And these add up to a PIRCHE 2 score of 29. So another important point I want to highlight here is that it does indeed make a difference what is the matching allele of a locus. Like for example, consider donor number 1 and donor number 4 both have the same mismatch of A2402, but the self allele is different. So the matching allele for donor number 4 is A2301, and for donor number 1 it's the O301. And as you can see, they have fundamentally different PIRCHE scores, and this has to do with the fact that donor number 1 now is aware of all of these A0301 peptides, and apparently the A2301 and the A2402 share quite a few peptides, so you only have a few mismatching peptides coming from the A2301. Vice versa, for the donor number 4, we have now these two common alleles, A2301 and A2402, that share quite a few peptides, but the mismatching A0301 now is quite different from these alleles, and therefore plenty of mismatching peptides are introduced for our immune system that it wasn't aware before, and therefore the PIRCHE score here is way higher, although we have the same mismatch. So take care of the self-peptide background here by checking out which is the actual matched allele. So another thing you can do here on the result page is you can download the results as CSV file. This allows you to open it up in Excel, for example, or do further analysis in any statistics software if you want so. And furthermore, you can download this file here as PDF, and this allows you to, for example, print your results for documentation purposes, or if you want to provide your clinician with this data set and explain why you decided for a certain mismatched donor. Alright, so let me talk a bit about the caveats that you have to consider when using PIRCHE here. First thing I want to stress out is please do not compare apples with oranges. So if you have a 5-locus PIRCHE, you cannot compare it with a 6-locus PIRCHE. So if you want to match your patient including DP, make sure you provide DP for both patients and all of your donors. And you cannot compare this mismatch score with a situation where you only provided ABC, DAB1, DQB1 and matched only this 5-locus patient with 5-locus donors. Something else I want to point out is you can have situations where you do not find a suitable donor anyhow. You have a patient and all of your donors have bad PIRCHE scores. And the reason for that is usually that you have very rare haplotypes or peptide mismatches in that constellation. And therefore it is hard sometimes to find a suitable donor for all of your patients. So a tool that we built to monitor, to estimate that, is the HSCT search profile. And this allows you actually to match virtual donors with your patient to get an idea whether there is a mismatch or a donor available, or at least exists theoretically, that has a good PIRCHE score. We are covering this in a future episode, so make sure to check that out if you're interested in that. So I guess that's it for our first episode. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us. Just write us an email to that address here or use that contact form in the application. I guess that's it. So see you next time. Bye.